Imagine a world where your devices last longer, where electric vehicles can travel further, and where renewable energy storage becomes even more efficient. This is the promise of a groundbreaking electrolyte gel, one that's turning heads and sparking excitement among researchers worldwide. But what exactly is this electrolyte gel? And how does it manage to boost lithium battery energy density by a staggering 40%? Stay tuned, guys, as it's about to be exciting. Can electric vehicles realistically achieve 600 miles of range soon? The idea of a mass-market EV that can drive across the entire width of the United States on a single charge may seem far-fetched. After all, when EVs first emerged in the late 2000s and early 2010s, a range of 100 miles was considered acceptable. However, battery capacities and energy densities have improved by leaps and bounds in the past decade. The longest-range EVs coming out of China, like the BYD Han and the NIO ET7, can already achieve over 600 miles of range on a single charge. These feats are accomplished using large 100-plus kilowatt-hour battery packs coupled with efficient motors and regenerative braking systems to maximize driving range. In the US and Europe, Tesla remains the industry leader in driving range. When launched in 2012, the Model S85 had an EPA rated 265 miles of range on an 85 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Today, in 2024, the longest-range Model's S Plaid Plus boasts over 520 miles from its 100 kilowatt-hour battery. Legacy automakers also made great strides, with offering the Lucid Airstream Edition delivering over 500 miles of range. The Mercedes EQS SUV is rated at over 400 miles. Clearly, we can see rapid advancements in battery energy density, motors, and regenerative braking systems have expanded range dramatically in a short time frame. Based on the current trajectory, 600 miles of range seems highly achievable in the next 2 to 4 years, at least for higher-priced luxury models. Bringing such capabilities to more affordable mass-market EVs may also take a bit longer, perhaps 5 or 10 years. Key factors that will determine the timeline include continued declines in battery costs, improvements in energy density, upgrades to charging infrastructure, and consumer demand. Still, experts agree the milestone is not a question of if, but when. What innovations are enabling longer EV range? Several key innovations in battery chemistry, cell design, motors, and charging are driving the push towards EVs with extreme long-range capabilities of 600-plus miles. Mixing silicon into the anode graphite blend can increase energy density dramatically. Silicon has over 10 times the theoretical capacity of graphite. However, it suffers from huge volume expansion issues that reduce cycle life. Next is the solid-state electrolytes. Conventional lithium-ion batteries use flammable liquid electrolytes. Transitioning to a solid electrolyte eliminates that fire risk while allowing higher voltage operation. Solid-state batteries can potentially almost double energy density. Major challenges remain around scalability and costs, but giant strides are being made. What about the motors? Silicon carbide inverters, replacing old silicon IGBTs with new SiC components, allows for lighter and more efficient power electronics. This reduces energy losses, meaning more of the battery capacity is used for driving range instead of being converted to heat. More power-dense motors, higher performance magnetic materials, and more compact winding architectures are increasing power density, allowing equal performance from smaller motors. Downsizing motors reduces weight, improving range. Now next comes the charging. Faster high-power charging, new standards supporting charging rate of 200-plus kilowatt and even up to 350 kilowatt enables more range to be replenished in a shorter time when drivers don't need to charge en route. This helps alleviate range anxiety around long-distance road trips. Plug-and-charge automatic authentication between vehicle and charger allows charging to begin immediately upon plugging in without needing to open apps or scan cards. This saves hassle and time at each charging stop. Vehicle-to-grid, allowing bidirectional power flow when plugged in enables EVs to sell excess battery capacity back to the grid during peak demand. This provides a revenue stream to help offset charging costs for the owner while also supporting grid stabilization. When will the 600-mile EVs be a commonplace? Based on the current pace of technology development, automotive analysts predict that 600-mile electric vehicle will likely be mainstream in the next 5 to 10 years. However, their adoption to the mass market will depend on several factors. the most crucial element, continued declines in lithium-ion battery prices. Reported costs have already dropped nearly 90% over the past decade, from over $100,000 per kilowatt-hour in 2010 to around $130 per kilowatt-hour today. Experts forecast costs below $100 per kilowatt-hour by 2025, bringing a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack into affordable range for the average family car will rely on achieving these ambitious cost reduction roadmaps. If battery costs keep falling, new chemistries improve density, charging networks also grow, and buyers become open to adapting their habits. 600-mile EVs could transition from niche to normal within the next decade. Achieving this milestone will signal the beginning of the end for gas vehicles. How quickly is battery technology improving? The pace of advancement in lithium-ion battery technology over the past decade has been astonishing. Driven by increased EV demand and enormous investments into R&D, energy density, power density, cycle life, charging rates, and safety have all improved dramatically while costs have plummeted. From 2010 to 2020, the energy density of lithium-ion cells went from around 200 watt-hour per kilogram to over 260 watt-hour per kilogram, a 30% increase. Power density more than doubled from 500 watt per kilogram to over 1200 watt per kilogram, as charging rates went from 1C to 3C and even 5C for some advanced designs. Cycle life is extended from 500 to 1000 cycles to about 2000 plus cycles through better electrode materials and chemical formulations. And as mentioned earlier, battery pack costs fell nearly 90% from over $1,100 per kilowatt-hour to around $130 per kilowatt-hour. How quickly will charging networks expand? For long-range EVs to truly replace gas cars, public charging infrastructure must grow rapidly to enable convenient charging everywhere drivers go. Fortunately, huge investments are now pouring into networks like Electrify America, EVgo, ChargePoint, and others to quickly scale up both highway fast charging and local community stations. The International Council on Clean Transportation predicts the U.S. will need nearly 100,000 public chargers by 2025, including over 9,000 DC fast charging stations to support the influx of new EVs. Experts project fast charging ports will grow from around 25,000 in 2020 to over 600,000 by 2030 in the US alone. How can EVs work as reliable family cars? For many families, choosing an EV as part of their primary vehicle will come down to practicality. Can it truly replace a gas-powered SUV or minivan for daily needs? Valid concerns around passengers and cargo space, affordability, charging access, and long-distance travel make some hesitant to go electric. However, continually improving EV ranges coupled with expanding charging networks are helping EVs become highly capable family vehicles. With ranges crossing 300 miles in affordable models like the Chevy Bolt and Kia Niro, most families need only plug in at home overnight to handle daily commutes and errands around town. Public charging provides peace of mind if more range is needed. For vacations and road trips, routes can be mapped in advance using apps showing charging locations and availability. New ultra-fast charging stations along highways enable recharging 100-plus miles in the time it takes to grab a quick meal. With a bit of planning, EV can readily tackle family trips near and far. As battery range continues to improve and charging networks expand, electric vehicles will only grow more tailored to handle the demands of busy family life. Their many practical strengths will compel more parents to make the switch from gas. How can EVs succeed in rural areas? A persistent perception holds that electric vehicles only work in dense urban environments with ubiquitous public charging infrastructure. However, improving EV ranges coupled with innovative rural charging solutions can make them highly capable options even in the country. For rural homeowners, installing Level 2 charging at home can satisfy the majority of needs. With a 60-plus amp circuit, 30 miles of range per hour can make overnight charging more than sufficient for even long country commutes. For destinations beyond home range, EV parks with hookups can often provide charging in a pinch. Land ownership patterns show nearly 25% of rural Americans live on a plot between 1 to 9 acres. For these moderate acreage homes, a second EV dedicated just to local trips around the property may be affordable and practical. With smaller batteries, used EVs could serve well here. That's a wrap. We have uncovered the game-changing potential of an innovative electrolyte gel, boosting lithium battery energy density by 40%, Join us in shaping the future of energy technology. Subscribe, like, and share to spread the word.